Published 7:44 Eastern Standard Time, the 5th of March 2018. Updated 8:37 Eastern Standard Time, the 5th of March 2018. Jamie Redknapp called it a crime against football. Chelsea boss Antonio Conte, playing for 78 minutes of Sunday's 1-0 defeat at Manchester City without a striker. Sportsmail columnist Redknapp was not alone in his condemnation of the tactic, which yielded 0 shots on target. However, in a sport where the formation of 4-4-2 has long since been considered the default setting, how has it come to this? Here, we take a closer look. Chelsea boss Antonio Conte played for 78 minutes of the defeat at Man City without a striker. Sportsmail columnist Jamie Redknapp called it a crime against football, and he was not alone. Conte's controversial tactic yielded a 1-0 defeat and 0 shots on target for Chelsea. Why did Chelsea cause so much offence? Their formation in Monday's Daily Mail is actually recorded as 3-4-3, the attacking triumvirate being Willian, Eden Hazard and Pedro. However, as our report notes, Hazard was not so much a false 9 as a false 8 on occasions, so deep was he dropping in an attempt to retrieve possession. Given that strikers Olivier Giroud and Alvaro Morata were sat on the bench, Conte's decision to persist for so long with an attacking midfielder as the focus of his front line is what has drawn the criticism. It showed a lack of ambition, and an unnecessary fear of his opponent who, while brilliant, were beaten by League One Wigan last month. Strikers Olivier Giroud and Alvaro Morata, left, were sat on the bench and only brought on late. Conte's persistence for so long with Eden Hazard as the frontline focus has drawn criticism. Giroud, number 18, was not given long to make an impact. Is there a precedent for this sort of tactic? Newcastle adopted a similar approach in terms of mentality for the first 80 minutes of their home match against City in December, but at least they played with a recognised striker. They, too, were beaten 1-0 and were widely criticised, even if they did come close to nicking a point late on. Playing regularly without a recognised striker is a system which first emerged at Roma in around 2007, when manager Luciano Spalletti used Francesco Totti as a lone frontman in a 4-1-4-1 formation. However, given Totti's preference to operate as a number 10, the system often took on the guise of a 4-1-5-0. The tactic first drew attention on these shores when Roma met Manchester United in the Champions League quarter-final and were beaten 7-1 at Old Trafford. Rather than be put off, however, Sir Alex Ferguson was soon using the likes of Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez or Cristiano Ronaldo in the deep-lying, central striker role, and that side went on to lift the Champions League in 2008. Playing regularly without a recognised striker first emerged at Francesco Totti's Roma in 2007. Rooney and Tevez are probably classed as strikers, though they are now, yes, and that is because we have become so used to seeing traditional no-10s operating as central strikers in a 4-2-3-1 or 4-5-1 formation. Think of Pep Guardiola's use of Lionel Messi at Barcelona, where the Argentine would often be deployed in that false 9 role with no out-and-out striker alongside him. What about examples of non-attacking players used in that position? Perhaps the most famous case of this is Spain at Euro 2012, where they kicked off the tournament against Italy with Cesc Fabregas, a holding midfielder, as the most advanced of their 6 midfielders. That game finished 1-1, but, by the time they met again in the final, Spain were 4-0 winners, again starting without a recognised striker. To that end, then, there is more to it than simply a formation. Absolutely. Personnel and game plan are arguably more important than formation. Take that Spain side, for example. In the final of Euro 2012, their front 6 were Fabregas, Xavi, Andres Iniesta, Xabi Alonso, Sergio Busquets and David Silva. Their talent coupled with an instruction to dominate the game and attack meant the absence of a striker was no obstruction to entertainment. They did not grind their way to that title, it was enjoyable to watch. So yes, it does come down to the offensive ambition of the managers and players involved. That is why Chelsea have been criticised, for they showed zero intent to win the game, despite the calibre of players at Conte's disposal. An infamous case is Spain v Italy at Euro 2012, where Cesc Fabregas was Spain's frontman. There must be others who have shut up shop without a striker. Yes. The most infamous case is that of Scotland during qualifying for Euro 2012. Manager Craig Levein set up with a 4-6-0 formation against Czech Republic, their only aim being to return from Prague with a goalless draw. They were only beaten by a goal 21 minutes from time, but that did not spare Levain from the kicking he received back in Scotland. Defender David Weir later told the Daily Record, "The way we set up meant we were never going to create a lot of chances. After the game we were all looking at each other thinking, they weren't Barcelona, they were the Czech Republic. We were a bit underwhelmed by them, in truth. We came away thinking we could have beaten them if we had been allowed to have a real go at it." Scotland manager Craig Levain set up 4-6-0 against Czech Republic in Euro 2012 qualifying. Isn't that what all players must think? You would hope so. What must Hazard have thought of his task on Sunday? It must have been demoralising for one of the Premier League's most creative players, reduced to shadow play in front of a City side allowed to express themselves by Guardiola. So what does the future hold for this sort of approach? Hopefully, the criticism stings, for Redknapp is right, it was a crime against football. Even if Chelsea had nicked a point, which never looked likely, would the result have justified the means? Is that really what a supporter pays money to see? You would think not. So while the traditional front pairing of a 4-4-2 is a thing of the past, let us hope that 4-6-0, and Chelsea's variation of it, is not a thing of the future. Even if Chelsea had nicked a point, would the result have justified the soporific means?